Have you ever started a run really mad or fixated on something, only to realize that after you finished your run, your perspective had completely changed? Or have you ever finished a run or a race a completely different person than when you started? For me, I've noticed that these changes can be subtle changes over the course of a month of running, or there can be one big realization. One of those big realizations happened for me at mile 40 in a 47-mile race. And I remember I was in the middle of a climb that felt like it would never end. I was just alone with me and my thoughts, and I had this epiphany that completely changed the way that I see life. Running, for me, has been absolutely instrumental in having these shifts in perspective. It seems like the physical attention required to run loosens my ego's grip on the narrative that I'm stuck in. There's a philosopher by the name of Iris Murdoch, and she talks about these shifts and how they allow us to see reality more clearly. According to her moral philosophy, paying right attention or trying to see reality more clearly is some of the most profound and meaningful work that we can do in our lives. I'm reading one of Murdoch's books right now, and she gives this example of a mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship. And for this example, we have to imagine that the mother-in-law's conduct, the way she treats her daughter-in-law, is perfect. But it talks about how she initially sees this daughter-in-law as vulgar and pushy and immature. But after an honest reflection on her own attitude and a sustained dedication to seeing things more clearly, she's able to remove her ego from the equation. And she starts to see her warmth and her spontaneity and her liveliness and generosity. Even though nothing changed externally for the mother-in-law, she still treats her the exact same way. Her perspective has shifted. After that honest reflection, she realizes that all of that good that she could have been seeing in her daughter-in-law was clouded by her own ego's pride and jealousy. And this is what Murdoch is talking about when she says that these shifts in perspective that allow us to see reality more clearly is some of the most profound and meaningful work that we can do. Whenever we think about morality and moral goodness in general, usually what we imagine are the external actions. From my perspective, growing up in a Christian household, Christianity was used as a tool to enforce certain actions and discourage certain actions. A lot of other religions are used in the same way. But as I've grown older and my horizons have broadened into philosophy and Eastern religious traditions like Taoism and Buddhism, that focus is turned from the outward to the inward. From my perspective, Murdoch's work lines up very nicely with Buddhism. In Buddhism, we have the concept of wrong view and right view. Wrong view arises out of ignorance and the ego's attachment to self. The untrained mind sees reality through the lenses of aversion and craving. And we mistake our mental fabrications as truth. In Murdoch's example of the mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, the mother-in-law's decision to see the daughter-in-law in a different way wasn't sentimental. It was disciplined seeing. Disciplined seeing is awareness of how our mind distorts reality and letting those distortions fall away. In Murdoch's story, the mother-in-law, when she changes her perception, she changes her being. She becomes more compassionate and less envious. And that's exactly how right way or right view in Buddhism leads to further enlightenment. Contrary to my experience in childhood, in my adult years, Christianity has become another tool for this inner work. And from my perspective, I think this is what Jesus was talking about when he counseled people to do their good works in private. That it's not about a public declaration of belief. It's about who you are inside. It's about who you are when no one's watching. And I think the reason why wisdom traditions and wise leaders and spiritual leaders all talk about this is because the ego distorts reality. It keeps us from seeing reality clearly. And when we can't see reality clearly, we're not going to be able to see each other for who we really are. I think about the relationships that I've had in my life, and I can see how I oscillate between seeing them for who they really are and my ego's distortion of them. And have you ever caught yourself constructing a narrative about something that has happened in order to protect your ego rather than seeing the incident for what it really was? These questions aren't comfortable. The work of seeing past our ego's distortion is difficult, ongoing, and it's often invisible. From my perspective, the core of this work is love. Without love, we wouldn't be asking ourselves any of these questions, let alone have the desire to make any meaningful change. Love is the fire that fuels the engine of inner change. For me, this shift inward started when I realized that my reality was distorted. I realized that if I wanted to have good, healthy, meaningful relationships moving forward, it had to be through the death of the ego. After time, after this initial spark, this process became intrinsically motivated. It became a positive feedback loop. It has become a slow, quiet shift from fantasy, self-importance, and projection towards truthful seeing and moral growth. And running for me has been absolutely central to this process. Running allows me to get out in nature and be alone with my thoughts and contemplate deeply. And the physical demands of running have pushed me beyond my limits, breaking my ego and laying the foundation for meaningful inner change. But that's just for me. And I'm definitely not an expert in any of this. These are just my thoughts, and I really hope this was interesting or thought-provoking for you. And if it was, I hope you'll stick around, and I'll catch you in the next video. All right, gear for today. As a reminder, I am not affiliated with any of these brands. I don't care if you buy them. I just share what I run in for fun. So this is an alter ego running hat. I've got a John G merino wool hoodie. I really like this hoodie. And then I've got a REI merino wool underneath that. And then these half glove things are flip mitts. I've got the Apple Watch Ultra. These are Solomon running shorts, Stance running socks, and these are Keen running shoes. The model is the Rome. Yeah, I don't know. If you have any questions on the gear, let me know.